Hello and welcome to episode 172 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. This week it's James and Jake for you. A little surprise, there's going to be two episodes this week. So we've got one coming out today, and then you've also got another one coming on our old day of Tuesday, which is going to be a bit of a special episode. So make sure you tune in for that. I say special episode purely because I didn't know if it was going to be 172 or 173. So it opens with special episode, when actually it's just either 172 or 173, but it's going to be 173. We've got plenty to talk about this week. The Euros have started, but obviously Sheffield Wednesday are making moves, and moves have actually happened now as we speak. So before we get into all of that, I will do what we always do and ask you, Jake, how has your week been, my mate?
It's been interesting because I've been trying to get a lot of things done. On terms of Wednesday wise, it's been stupidly busy, and I knew it was going to, and I haven't really got my brain around it. The thing is, our lass is going back to work Tuesday for like a kit day. So I've got the boy all day on my own, which I'm looking forward to, but it's also new thing to sort out. Later today, me and Sarah will be celebrating our 11-year wedding anniversary.
Well, congratulations, my friend.
Which will be, I don't know what we're doing. I literally think we're sit watching the Euros and just eating junk food. We can't be bothered to do anything else. But it's been an interesting week. I've been trying to get things done. I had a appointment to do with all the PIP stuff, and I had a psychotherapist go, "Hey, you ever thought that you've got ADHD?" It's like, well, I'm in the process of getting referred, and I've got about 2 or 3 mates who I do a podcast with who say, "You definitely got ADHD. So why are you not?"
It's one of those things. I think most of us who put in the camera have probably got it, but we were just never diagnosed as kids.
Yeah. And it was just interesting having that sorted. And it's been a good week. It's been a good week. Busy. I'm taking your line. But I think I'm getting to that point where I'm getting ready to get my brain into doing a way of recording with my son, because it's not something I've done running the channel. When the channel got big, my eldest was about 2, so that was easy kind of thing. A lot harder with a 1-year-old who's deciding to stand 1-year-old, 0-year-old even. I've aged him already. We're a 0-year-old basically, 6 months, and he's trying to stand, he's crawling, and you know my little girl is sassy as hell, right?
Yes, I do.
Right? So she sat eating her food, and he literally gets a bowl, flings it across the room, and just smiles at her, and she goes, "I can't believe you just did that. That was my breakfast." I'm like, "Yeah, and you left it there." And he giggling his ass off. It's so funny. But it's been good, man. We're getting a lot of things done, and we got no Jack this week. Jack needed time off. He's just juggling, basically. And it's just me and you like we normally do. How's your week been?
Yeah. In terms of my week, it's been as always the line of busy, but yeah, I feel like I've slept last night, but all week I didn't feel like I really slept. So, you messaged me going, "Where are the breakouts this week?" And I was like, "Mate, don't. They're coming. I've had a week." But yeah, there's been lots of work stuff. We had the windows replaced in the house. So that was an interesting experience. The frames just came around, and I've never seen windows get put on and out, and it's really quick and it's really interesting.
It's very quick. Just be thankful that it's the landlord that's paying for it and it's not your money.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly.
I've done that. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
The joys of owning your own property, but then there's also the thing, I miss renting to a point.
Well, that's the thing. It's the first thing we thought. We like these new windows when we moved in. And it's got done. So
which is good.
Yeah, nice fresh windows. You can actually see out of them now, and they don't retain moisture, so that's ideal. Well, that's the thing. It was especially the bathroom. The bathroom was needed new windows because it just wasn't in the winter. It wasn't retaining the heat.
Yeah.
So, and it was the seals and everything. So they just needed the new panes in that. I'm not convinced it didn't need new like outer frames completely, but it seems to be an improvement on what it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'd have potentially thought maybe I just put a whole new window frame in, but that's even more cost. So you probably wouldn't want to do that if it's just the glass and the seals. Then
true.
Yeah. But
what did you think of the first Euro game? Poor Scotland.
Oh, I'm sorry, Grandad. And like they technically my second team, aren't they? Because I am part Scottish and I've got Scottish heritage, and I love my Scottish heritage and I embrace it. But just with the way, because obviously in terms of football, I'm an avid English fan. So it's one of those things where it's like, because of the hatred that comes from the Scottish fans, I do kind of have the, you know what, in terms of football, I'm going to be the England and go for it. And yes, because of that, it was quite funny.
I'll tell you something, that I think that
it was
second
so
to last
bad.
goal by Germany was superb. That touchy talk.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a shame Musiala didn't decide to declare for England, isn't it?
Yeah, it's annoying, isn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as he scored it, I was like, he's English, he is. And I'll went, no, he's not. He's playing for it. No, he's English.
No, yeah, he is. He's him and Bellingham in the midfield would have been
fantastic.
Yeah.
Have you seen the tweet going around, the lass who spotted him like at 11 going, oh, he's a proper baller, him. He's going to go really far.
Yeah. No, I did actually see. I saw that one. What I'm also seeing on Twitter is deaths.
Yeah.
Is that in your... Every time like somebody dies, it's in my For You tab, and I'm not enjoying this algorithmic trend.
Talking of that, we lost Kevin Campbell and the
we did.
Millwall keeper, and I've forgotten his name.
Yeah, if you find that out, I saw that. So yeah, thoughts
Only
with
26.
all their families. Yeah, it's not been a great morning to come on and see everything, has it? Really,
no.
A lot of stuff.
Majid Sharik, Charkic.
I'll find it to try and actually. You attempted to pronounce it. So yes, our thoughts are there with the families there. It's one of them things. It annoys me now when somebody young dies and then you get all the conspiracy theorists out. Just
it does my head in.
It just does my head in every single time. Just let somebody rest in peace without pushing your own ideology. Yeah,
just let family grieve.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say something.
For the sake of a few likes. Go on.
You know, with the VAR, I love how VAR is used in Europe and in just the Euros in general.
Yeah, the offside thing was really good, wasn't it? It was really quick the way it worked.
That works. And the fact that when VAR check's happening, there's something on the screen to say, this is why it's not been given.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're trying to do in the Prem next season, isn't it? That's one thing that's passed through. They are going to be doing more transparency for fans in the ground, is what they're looking at. But yeah, we'll start with the England stuff. We'll start with the Euro stuff then. How are you feeling about the Serbia game?
Could be interesting. Let's just put it that way. I think it could be interesting. I think it'll be... I'm not convinced with how our prep been.
No, our friendlies were awful, mate.
Our prep for this has been horrible, and I'm not convinced he's not going to absolutely knacker this. I'm still, like you, I'm still a bit miffed we haven't got no Jack Grealish. Because I don't see anyone who
this
can
is the
change
thing.
it.
Last episode, nobody gave me stick for it. But you know the thing I was saying about Gordon?
Yeah.
It wasn't that I don't rate Gordon. I do rate him, but I don't rate him as much as I rate Grealish. I can see why Gareth had taken him, because he's that left-sided player that will cross it and run down the line whereas Grealish has been taught to cut in. But it's a case of... I don't really know who else you're going to play out on that left other than Gordon now. Because he'll probably push Foden out there, which I don't want him to do, but that's what he'll probably do.
No, because Foden worked better in the middle. He's a much better player. Foden works so much better in the middle.
He does, yeah, but it's a case of also, like, I don't see him doing the triangle of Foden, Bellingham and Rice, because I think he feels like that's probably not got enough defensively, but then he might even play Trent. That's why I feel like he's going to try and accommodate all these players. I think he's going to put Foden out on the left. He's going to put Bellingham as the 10. He's going to have Rice and Trent in the central midfield positions. That's what I feel like he's going to go with.
I won't lie. I feel like he's going to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to properly overcomplicate it. And the way we defend, I don't think it's going to help us. I generally don't see us getting out of the group because of just how...
I see us getting out of the group, don't get me wrong, but like... Serbia's going to come apart the bus, and they've got Mitrovic and the likes that can do a job. We are going to struggle if we can't get Kane into the game.
Yeah.
You notice if England can't get Kane into the game and teams sit back and park the bus, we struggle to break them down. We'll just pass it. And it's like they're doing a trust the process thing. When it's not going to happen, you need a bit of flair and you need somebody to just start crossing it and go crosses into the box and go a little bit more that way rather than let's work it up through the midfield. Let's get it to Kane. Kane will come back deep. He'll pass it. He'll do all it. And teams like Serbia are going to cut him out the game. Yeah. So I hope he's prepared for that. Whereas Grealish could come on and cause problems for those teams, but he's not in the squad.
The problem I can see Kane being completely isolated and having to come deep. Who you got? You got no one bombing forward. Really?
That's what I'm saying. You've got Saka, obviously, but it's a case of like all these wingers that want to cut in. Maybe Gordon's works in that case. He runs down the touchline and he crosses. We go for the crosses and we put it in like that. But maybe you bring on a Tony to partner Kane rather than playing Kane centrally. Because then you've got two players to aim for and you go a bit more direct on that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe that's what you do.
I think that would work, but I have a funny feeling if Tony comes on, it's going to be to replace Kane, not the other way around.
That's the thing that I think. Whereas I think you could actually probably do all right against someone like a team like Serbia by playing the two strikers, and you're going to have to go at them a little bit more like that. And then when you need a bit more control, that's when you play Harry Kane up top on his own, and you go for the more methodical Gareth process because that'll work. But when you're going against teams that are going to sit back, maybe you go a little bit more with someone like Kane and Tony up top.
I will say we did before we came on to do the pod. We did say the Euros are dangerous with the times they got it really dangerous.
Oh yeah, well after this podcast, I think I'm setting for the entire day. So,
yeah, same.
And I think I'm setting for the entire weekend pretty much. So
it's like I had it the other day. I was speaking to a mate of mine who was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to find somewhere to watch the Euro because Mrs. won't have it on." I was like, "Sarah will just have it on," and it's like, "Why? How?" She liked football, mate. It's like, how? Like, she is allowed to, You couldn't get that. A wife could actually watch football and just enjoy it, even if it's not England. It was just really weird watching his brain explode.
Yeah. But no, plenty of football for us for the next.
Oh, but very much so.
Jesus Christ. Right, let's get into the Sheffield Wednesday portion of the podcast. So, first story today is Ben Hamer has signed for Sheffield Wednesday. The Wednesday website reads as follows. Ben Hamer has agreed to sign a deal for the Owls. The experienced goalkeeper will put pen to paper in S6 on July the 1st. Hamer brings a storied portfolio to Hillsborough, having represented 12 clubs through his career to date, clocking over 350 appearances. A product of Somerset, he began his journey between the sticks with Reading as a youngster. Tasting senior football for the first time on loan with Crawley. Missing just one game over the course of the 2006-2007 season, the custodian won Town's Player of the Year award. Hamer then switched to Brentford for the first of 3 loan spells with the Bees. His third stint ended with silverware, as Brentford were crowned champions of League Two, with Hamer taking the Golden Glove trophy, having posted 20 clean sheets. After another loan, this time with Exeter, the towering goalkeeper signed a permanent contract at Charlton, where he was immediately handed the number 1 jersey. A second title would come his way as the Addicts were promoted as champions to the second tier under Owls coach Chris Powell. Hamer was next elevated to the Premier League with Leicester, for whom he would also play at the very highest level in the Champions League. Brief loans with Nottingham Forest and Bristol City followed before a permanent transfer to Huddersfield, then Swansea in another temporary move. He then went on to enjoy a 2-year stint at Watford, leaving the Hornets this summer upon the expiry of his contract, and Wednesday will become the 13th club of his career. Welcome to Wednesday, Ben. He's a 66 rated silver goalkeeper, 67 diving, 61 handling, 65 kicking, 67 reflexes, 45 speed and 65 positioning. And he comes in with a lot of experience. Jake, you happy with this one?
I am, and I've seen a lot of people lose their mind a little bit on this one because they've gone, why are we signing a 36? But you actually look at the clip that they showed when he signed, when he played against us versus Watford, that shows you what he can do.
So Wednesday released a clip, if you haven't seen it, that said if you can't get past him, sign him. And it was when he had a stormer of a game against us last season.
And he really did, because that shot by, I think it was Masava right near the end clip where he tips it. And you're just thinking, how's he managed to get on the end? This is smart. Here's the thing. You've got a keeper that's already worked under Chris Powell, and he's worked with Babbo of Wealth. So there's that link up. He's fluent German, which a lot of people are missing. Having someone who's fluent German helps a lot, especially if Danny is looking maybe in the German marketplace for some defenders or something of that nature. You've got someone who
being
can
able to
help.
communicate with your team if you brings in German players. We've not seen that yet, though. So
no, we haven't. But I think it gives a bit. And people like complaining about it and everything. He's going to be back up. You look at where he's been at. He's been back up.
But even if not, I don't think it's a problem, to be honest.
I don't.
Because I actually think if you look at what we've seen, he's probably better than what we've currently got. So Beadle probably neglect from that. If we bring Beadle in, I think Beadle's better and has got more potential. But Hamer is, I'd rather have him in the sticks than Dawson from a position of it. That's not a Wednesday fan perspective there, but in terms of, I think the experience that comes with Hamer will be more beneficial than Dawson starting for us now, because Dawson doesn't have the future with us, as we've seen. Charles would be an argument, but Charles is a dangerous one. I think Charles needs a loan.
I think either way, we're bringing in at least another keeper and Charles is possibly going out on loan. Personally, Charles is good. Don't get it, and there's a lot of things to be excited about Charles. I don't know if he's there yet. But again, look what happened in some of the preseason we've had in the past, where we'd gone in and got players in and the goalkeepers had challenged each other in preseason and it changed. Charles could have a storm of the preseason and go, right, I'm starting you for the whole month of August and we'll see what happens, kind of thing, and go from there. But here's the thing. Remember when we signed Kieran Westwood? Everyone was like, oh, he's injury prone, he's not that great, blah, blah, blah. Look at how solid he was. I'm not saying Hamer's going to be as Kieran Westwood. That's not what I'm saying. But everyone's seeing the age and they're complaining about it because I thought we were going after younger players. Goalkeepers is a weird one because you rarely get young goalkeepers.
It's true. If I am right in saying, though, wasn't Kieran Westwood closer to 30 when we signed him?
He was 32 when we signed him. But the reason people are saying, because he was injury prone when we signed him, if you remember, he had like knee injuries. So
he was 29, mate.
Was he 29? I thought he was 30. Jesus.
Yeah.
32. Okay, maybe he was
he's
a bit
39 now. He signed for us in 2014, so he'd have been around 29. Westwood.
This is the issue you've got when you don't have a clear path to what to do with keepers. We've been bad at this for years.
Yeah, I think you're bringing in a keeper with experience. It's a keeping position we've got. We're going to talk about a story later that it looks like Dawson's off anyway, so he would technically be the only experienced keeper on our books. So it's well worth a signing, and I'm happy we've got it done now. It's middle of June, and we've got the keeper sorted. We've got our keeper sorted, and we can look for another one. But it's not like we don't even have a keeper going into pre-season. We do, and that's the important thing. A move that has been very interesting because it's not usually this way round that we do it. It's usually the other way round that they poach. This is from the Wednesday website. Max Lowe agrees Wednesday move. Max Lowe has agreed a deal to sign for Wednesday on the 1st of July. Lowe is a versatile performer, equally at home in left-back birth or as a holding midfielder. He began his career with Derby, graduating from the Rams Academy and going on to post 42 senior appearances. Loan spells with Shrewsbury and Aberdeen followed before a permanent move to our city rivals, Sheffield United. Lowe went on to make 44 appearances for the Blades, incorporating a temporary switch to Nottingham Forest, where he was part of the Reds team that won promotion to the Premier League via the playoffs in 2021-22. The 27-year-old is a decorated England international in the younger age groups, having represented the Three Lions at under 16, 17, 18 and 20 level. Lowe will put pen to paper at Hillsborough in July upon the expiry of his current contract. Welcome to Wednesday, Max. Now, this one, as you can imagine, they've all gone, oh, he's not good enough, and then the ones that have been rational on the other side of the city have said he's actually quite a good player. He's just got a bad injury record, which is probably the more believable thing, because that would be a typical Wednesday signing. But I think it would be that gamble that I think it's the gamble you take, Jake, because for me, this player seems to be a good age, which I assume we've probably given him like a 2-year deal or something, because he's 27, with an option maybe. He's got, I very much doubt it would be a year. He does have the question of loyalty. He's done Derby, he's gone Forest. He's obviously now gone from the Blades to us. But I think it makes sense. He's never really had to move, if you think about that, actually, because if he's gone Derby, Forest, it's more of a local thing. I think you'll probably find he's more of a professional footballer in that regard, rather than an emotional footballer, maybe. So
I think he's from what I've seen,
he seems like a decent signing, and he's a naturally left-sided footballer, which is what we need at left back. We don't really have one going into the new season. So what do you think on Lowe?
You know what? This is a really smart move, and the fact that he's sat down with Danny and Danny convinced him what the plan is as well, which was something that got mentioned on Twitter, that Danny's spoken to him and they had good conversations about what they wanted. If you actually look at the way he plays, with the way he break plays up and then gets us on teams on the counter, and then looks at all the position, or he got an eye for say, he basically doing what Paul did last season. Last season, Paul would try and break play up and then get on the counter. We didn't have anyone on the other side to do that. Johnson tried it, but he doesn't have the ability to get it moving fast enough, I think, for Danny liking. And with this, you got someone who can get that transition. I think this is all having a player who can do the transitional play when we're attacking, and they'll be able to defend as well. He got a damn good foot on him for crosses. He really can do. And I think you look at the way Danny was trying to play last season when he first came in. He was trying to do that with players who didn't have that ability. Not saying they weren't good enough, it just wasn't their strength. In Max, you've got a player whose strength is to bomb forward and get back, but also go on the counter. I am actually very excited to see what Danny brings around this in terms of it, because I can see us being quite a pacey team next season with the way we're going to play on the break a little bit.
I think this is exactly the sort of signing we need to be making, and I don't think we're going to get players. If there wasn't a question mark over his injuries, you'd have probably gone to somebody pushing for the Prem.
It was linked with Everton.
Yeah, that sort of thing. But I think it makes sense for him. Danny's, you can't underestimate the influence of the system that we play now, and the morale at the club. So what I would suggest is, he's seen that, realised he doesn't have to move. He's come across the other side of the city. Be interesting to see if he takes to us more over time.
Well. Wilder apparently wanted to keep him.
You would have thought so. If he's come to us, he's not gone on stupid wages, which is a good sign, And it just makes sense. Let's do the traditional EAFC thing. So he's a 72 rated silver left wing back, 80 pace, 46 shooting, 63 passing, 73 dribbling, 69 defending, and 67 physical. If you are new to the channel, the reason we do that is just because we all like to just throw a little bit of virtual thing in there, even though it doesn't have any relevance on real world football. Here's the thing, though. He had an amazing evolution. If you'd evoed him at the right time, he could have been a 94 rated left wing back, Jake. 94. That was from budding star at weak foot peak, team of the season plus protector and supreme defender. He could have been a 94 rated left wing back with 3 play style pluses, which would have been 92 pace, 59 shooting, 87 passing, 89 dribbling, 84 defending, and 85 physical. So he would have been half decent. That would have had ping, pass, jockey, and intercept as well. I
will say
would have.
something.
Go on.
The derby going to be interesting now.
It does add a bit of spice to the Sheffield derby, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Hopefully he stays fit for it, because it would be quite funny. It would be one of those funny situations if he manages to stay fit for an entire season, has a great season with us, and maybe gets an assist or a goal against them.
Yeah.
But I'm still not looking forward to playing them, by the way. Let's be real. They've got parachute payments coming out of their backside, right? And they'll be up for it, especially with Wilder as their manager in charge of Steel City Derby.
I think Danny will relish an actual,
hopefully,
proper derby. That sounds really bad, but a proper derby. And the thing is, for me, Danny's already bought in to what the club means. And I think if he's already done that, I don't think he'll do a Carlos and go, it's just a normal football game. I don't think he'll do that. He understands what it means. You know what I mean? It's that whole thing. He completely understands it.
The way I see it, for anybody that might be, I think everybody seems quite positive about it. I can see a lot of people saying, welcome to the biggest club in Sheffield, that sort of thing, the typical banter you get when that sort of thing happens across there. But it's a position we needed to fill. It's a position we have now filled. Because if you look at our left options, we've got what? Marvin Johnson and... we didn't release Marvin Johnson, did we? He's got another year, hasn't
he? Marvin Johnson got another year. We gave him an option.
Yeah, I thought he did. My brain just went for a second. Got Marvin Johnson, which we don't really want to play at left back, but you could play Johnson higher up, and then you've got Lowe, at left back.
They'll need another one there.
We do. He replaces basically Reece James, who's gone. So that makes sense, and it's somebody that Danny wants to work with in that side of things. So 2 signings through the door already. That's not bad.
Have you noticed with some of the players we're linked with, is that it's looking like he's getting 2 players for 2 positions?
Well, that's what he needs to do, and Lowe will be a great addition to that, especially considering we are short defensively. Definitely short defensively. Right, this... So the Star have been reporting that we are back in for Miles Peart-Harris, the player that we were linked with in January. So what do you think about this one going back in? We've obviously talked about him before, Jake. Do you think
he did very well in a Pompey side that got promoted? And I can understand why Brentford didn't want to send him back out to a relegation situation, because he had that with Forest Green. You want him to enjoy that high period. It's like what we did with Dawson when we sent him to Exeter. We want him to enjoy having that aspect of being in a promotion-winning team, not a relegation. And I think it would be really smart if we actually open up conversations again and loan him, because let's be honest, our midfield is now very, very depleted. It needs players in it. He's only 21. He did really well while he was at Pompey. I think he did got 2 goals and got a couple of assists.
He only had 12 appearances there, though. So it wasn't like he played loads, but 12 appearances. Should mention, for those who don't know, he is an attacking midfielder. Okay, yeah. So he plays, and he plays for Brentford. He's had a couple of loan spells, Forest Green and Portsmouth, but he made 40 appearances for Forest Green Rovers, scoring 5 goals, and then last season he went to Portsmouth, 12 appearances, 2 goals. I think he went in the latter half of the season to Portsmouth, though. Yeah,
I think he was like that player just to get him over the line, just to have a body in. But here's the thing. We have to utilise the players, even if it's a loan. You like most of your players. I
don't think it will be now, mate.
Do you know? Do you think it might be a signing? A full?
Well, if you look at his career, we could be the last loan, maybe, before Brentford kick on and start to utilise him a little bit more. But it's a position we need to fill.
Yeah.
He's 21 years old. Brentford are always looking for turning over revenue and things like that. That's their kind of whole
Moneyball thing.
Yeah, so if we offered a couple of mil, which I don't really know if he's worth, to be honest, is the experience, but I guess you could say that with potential, maybe they'd go for it. But I think it's definitely going to help having a player that's just won a title on the back of things. He's previously had interest at England under 16s, but he's not really got a look in there since. But I think him getting loans and stuff is going to bring him more into the
from the Chelsea academy good as well.
Yes, yeah, especially you see a lot of around this age, the players from the Chelsea academy seem to be players that would fit what we're doing now. They had a certain style, they had a certain flair to them around that time when they were coming up at that age. That does sound like waffle, but there was logic to that.
Transfer market is worth about 700 euros.
Okay, well, not even a couple of million then. Just like, I don't know if the reason I don't know if Brentford would take like 500k for him. So, but if they would,
here's the other thing as well. If he did come in, he's been in Jamaica's under 23s in the past. I wonder if there's a link up if Bernard stays there as well.
Has he been in Jamaica's under 23s?
Former Jamaica under 23. Apparently.
Find that on his thing. Interesting. No, he was.
Yeah, the same player. He didn't play though. He never played.
Right. Okay. That'll be why. That's why it's not listed on his caps, basically.
Not I do
have that. I do have that down there. Yeah. Interesting. But he's not played there. Yeah. So there's that potential there. He's switched allegiance then, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think would we play him in that Poveda role though? Or is he more is he that central sort of, you've seen a bit more of him than I have. Is he more of that central player
he's more that central player, but he can drift out.
Okay.
I think
so you think
Pompey
maybe obviously I think for what it's worth, by the way, there's a lot of talk about Windass this week. I think Windass will still sign, but even if he doesn't, you're looking at do you think we'll play him as a number 10?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So it's like if we go for him and Poveda.
In attacking mid and central mid.
Right. Okay. So he hasn't drifted wide. Okay.
No.
So he is. So we are. The reason I question that is because obviously if we're looking at Poveda, is he the second player in that position we're looking for? We're looking for number 10s now, and he's the second position.
So he played 50 times as an attacking mid, 11 times as a central mid, 8 times as a central forward, 3 times as three times both for right and left wing.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he's coming in as a number 10 then.
Is that attacking forward? Put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. It depends how we play it, obviously, as well, because he maybe rather want him to play a little bit deeper, maybe. I don't know. And allow, because it's a case of where do you put Bannon, because Bannon was obviously playing a bit more advanced this season as well, wasn't he? So
yeah,
lots of things to figure out with him if he does time for Wednesday.
Definitely.
Right. A little bit of a positive one. No, we're actually on another signing. I've got another story first. So this is from Football Insider 247. I'm assuming that means 24/7. The title reads as follows: Sheffield Wednesday, Millwall, QPR and Swansea race to sign Humphreys. Sheffield repeats it again in the article. The clubs are chasing Rotherham defender Cameron Humphreys, sources have told Football Insider. Humphreys, 25, was one of the most impressive performances for Rotherham last season despite their relegation from the Championship. The centre-back is a graduate of Manchester City's youth system and made 2 first-team appearances for the club before leaving in 2019. Humphreys made the move to Rotherham in 2022 and has caught the eye of watching clubs after making 67 appearances over 2 seasons. Sheffield Wednesday, Millwall, QPR and Swansea are in a 4-way race to sign Cameron Humphreys. Humphries joined Rotherham on a 3-year deal from Zult Waregem in 2022, with just 1 year left on his deal going into the summer window. You would think that would be the time that they'd be looking to cash in. That's me adding to the article, not what it says there, but I feel like that would have been a better sentence. As a result of Rotherham's relegation to League One, they could look to cash in on their prized asset. Yes, they've done it in a really weird way. They have put that, but they've put it in a weird way. Swansea, meanwhile, suffered another disappointing mid-table season, but will be looking to be ambitious in their backing of Luke Williams. Humphries is represented by YMU Management, an agency which has strong links in the EFL, as well as representing Premier League talent such as Evan Ferguson and James McAtee. So we'll see what sort of agency fees would come into that. Agents have been a topic of discussion lately anyway. But what do you think to this one? We don't know if Bernard's going to sign a deal, so do you think it's a case we need a centre-back anyway, even without him?
Yeah, he's a good player, and I think a lot of people, I've seen some people go, but he's in a Rotherham team that got relegated. Like, yeah, but one player doesn't make the entire defence.
Water's wet. There is a likelihood if you're a centre back for Rotherham, you're going to have quite a few interesting seasons. But it's his pedigree, isn't he? He's come out of that City Academy.
That's the thing.
And
if you want to can play out from the back, that we seem to be wanting to do, that's what you want. You want to do already been ingrained into that style of play. That would help a lot. And he's a good centre-back. He really is a good centre-back. And I think we have to probably beef up that defence. Now, it all depends on what kind of deal we could get for him. I would hazard a guess they'd be quite bad if it was us going for him and trying to ask for a bit more than they will with Millwall or QPR or Swansea. I'll be honest with you. I think.
We've had them with Smith and Uwekwe on freeze. They'd want us to. Yeah, they'd want the money. I don't see this one happen more than the others because.
No, I don't.
I don't think Rotherham would. They know how much it'd annoy their fan base if we were to take them off their hands. But
it's like
maybe you chuck them. They paid €700,000 at them. Maybe we chuck 800,000 British pounds, maybe £1 million British pounds at them, and go, there you go, that'll help. And they do like money.
Maybe do $1 million and say there's a sell-on fee.
Yeah,
he's only 25.
Exactly, he's 25. He made 25 appearances last season. He got an assist as well. But I think I don't know enough about him, Jake, to have a valid say, because you're saying he's a good centre-back. I can't clarify that. All I have coming from the perspective of I've seen him with Rotherham. I've seen him in brief bits with Rotherham. Nowhere near as much as I'd want to see a player before I could speak, authoritatively on their ability. But from looking at the stats, he's not played as much as I'd have liked a player to play for that sort of money. You'd think of paying him $1 million because it's his 2022. He's made 52 appearances, so that's about half the season on both times.
Remember, last season he had about 3 different managers.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually worth mentioning. Yeah, that's fair. So last season he only played 14 times, which would be my questioning behind that. Why? And that is probably answered by what you've just said there. Many different managers. But in the season before that, the thing that would give me a little bit of hope maybe is in the season they stayed up, he played 38 times for them in the Championship.
That way.
So you would question that them leaving him out was potentially part of their downfall last season. Maybe trying to put too many square pegs into round holes and he didn't really fit when he could have probably done a job for them. But he comes to us. If Danny wants him, I would assume that means Danny's seen something in him and the coaching team and the scouting team has seen something in him, and that's enough for me.
There you go. He tore a tendon.
Right, so it was an injury.
He had a tendon. Yeah.
Okay.
Hamstring injury.
Well, then we definitely say, look, 800k Rotherham. He's had an injury last season. You don't know if it's going to reoccur. They're never going to try. They're never going to like that. but we'll see.
Nope.
We'll see what happens with that. But no, I think he's a good age for it. The more, I think the better Bernard does while he's away with Jamaica, the less and less likely he's going to be to sign a Sheffield Wednesday deal. So we need another centre back anyway. And of course he'll know Awekwe.
Yep,
won't he? A little bit.
2022.
Oh no, he won't.
No, he won't. No.
No, yeah, they'd have been passing ships, but maybe they know each other a little bit.
He may know Pierce Charles though.
Yes, that's true.
And on the Bernard one, it's the 15th. We've got 2 weeks to get a deal done before he plays a game. And he's gone.
Right, okay. Well, that's exactly it, because his contracts are officially up in 2 weeks' time. So we need to make sure that they're signed on the dotted line in terms of that. Cameron Humphreys, though, I'd take a punt on him as long as we don't have to pay stupid money because of the Rotherham tax.
Agree.
Let's just quickly talk about Windass. So it's blowing up here. Other pods have had insight. Yes, we also have had a little bit of insight, if I can say that, Jake.
You can basically just say it's what people have said is about right.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. What you can see is what we also heard at the same time. So with a little bit more to it, but I wouldn't be 100%. I wouldn't 100% think he is not going to sign a deal, but I also would like to say from a perspective of, let's take all the information that would be known out of it. Would it be the worst thing in the world? Let's play devil's advocate. Would it be the worst thing in the world if he didn't sign? Because I see a lot of people throwing their toys out of the pram for this. I'm going to try and look at it from the perspective of he is a big game player, which is crucial for sides, but I also don't think he's an irreplaceable player if there's going to be things that get in the way of him signing, in terms of he has had a lot of injuries. And I am not saying, I'm not an advocate for Josh Windass not getting a new deal, by the way, but I'm just saying that we don't need to throw the toys out the pram if potentially he didn't, because I do think we could divert those funds into the future. So it's not the end of the world either way. Yes, I think he should stay with us for another year because he is a big game player, but he's also not available for a lot of it through injuries. And I hope this season is the exception. I hope he stays fit and shows us what he can do when he's that big game player and he does it all the way through the season. But Jake, what do you feel about it?
I got the thing is, if Danny wants him here as a player, you bust the gut to try and make a deal doing. That's my thing. If Danny actually sees the way of getting into play in his system, you try and find a compromise. Now, they are back at the negotiation table, which is good. We want to hear that. That means no one gone, well, okay, you're not accepting this, we're not going to try again, kind of thing. I think Josh himself wants to stay at Wednesday, but everything can change, because 2 weeks ago it was he's agreed and they just need to agree on other things and then it gets sorted. Whatever's changed in that period, it needs to get sorted. Now, the thing is, Josh won't be involved with this at all. He's in America right now. He's about to get married. Congratulations in advance, kind of thing. A lot of the Wednesday lads are out there as well. But he is replaceable, but it's making sure we replace it correctly.
It's the personality that is probably less easy to replace. So if a deal can be worked out, it needs to be worked out.
Yeah, definitely. It's like he's a big person behind the scenes. You've seen that in the documentary that he did. And you've seen that he's quite a big component of keeping people together. He's, you know what? As daft as this is going to sound, I do see him, if he, say they gave him a long-term deal, right? And say you had the thing where Windass, Bannon retires, Palmer maybe goes on, or I can see him as a Wednesday captain.
You see, I see the absolute, I could see that, but also I've also looking at it from the lens of, would I think Windass is going to be here this time in 2 years? And I don't think he will be. So that's why it's where I'm like, what are we looking at and what is the long-termism on the Windass prospect? But I would sign him. I would give him a deal. Definitely. So let's just see what happens with that over the next week or so. Moving on to some positive news. Chris Powell has been awarded an MBE, so it's a very long article, so I'll refer you to the Sheffield Wednesday website there. We just wanted some positivity on there, and we wanted to say congratulations to Chris Powell on his MBE. He's an absolute awesome guy from what we've seen and heard, so very well deserved.
Can we read the last bit of the actual statement? I think it's quite poignant. Give it from the website.
Let's have a look.
If you go right down to the very bottom, and it says a lot about the club.
So, Chris Powell said this: I would like to express my gratitude to my friends in the game and outside of football, and a special mention to my children, Morgan and Shay, for all their love and support, as well as my wife, Sophia, and my dear mother, Elaine. Without their sacrifice, wisdom, and knowledge, I wouldn't have achieved half of what I have. Given that this honour is for services to football, I will save my final word for Sheffield Wednesday Football Club. Since joining as assistant coach in October 2023, I cannot thank the club, the staff, players, and fans enough for their support. It has meant more to me than they will ever know, being able to continue my journey in football when I wasn't sure what the future held for me, and has given me professional purpose and a great deal of personal satisfaction. Thank you to everyone in my life along my footballing journey. This award is for you. He's just such a nice man. Yeah. He's just such an example of who I want in my club. So we need to keep hold of Chris Powell.
We need that contract signed.
Yeah. He's probably the biggest sign in the summer, to be honest. Yeah. If we can sort it. Which I'm pretty sure we will.
I think, yeah, definitely.
So we knew this was a thing, actually, last episode. We heavily hinted that this was the thing because we knew that we were pretty much said that Volks was gone, but he was gone. What do you think about Volks going to Oxford? And obviously he did an interview with Radio Sheffield afterwards, sort of talking about...
The interview was odd. The interview felt very... I don't think it meant to sound disrespectful, and I don't think it did, but there was signs that it felt it.
Yeah, because basically what he said in the interview is he said that he implied through it that when the Oxford had a better recruitment strategy and made it seem and more desire, and they basically he basically I don't think he meant to do this, but he made Oxford sound like he made Wednesday sound like they didn't have a recruitment or a plan. And he almost as if like the nobody in the club had a plan, whereas clearly that's not the case with Danny, etc. So I think he was actually saying that he was impressed by Oxford's vision and their path for the future, and he actually didn't realise that he basically just implied that the opposite was the situation with Wednesday. However, if he was implying that, I've got to say, Jake, that is sour grapes.
Feels it. It does feel like that was what he was doing.
Because for me, that is a case of like that is a really bad attitude to have on the way out of the club. Especially a club where the fans have taken to you. And because I don't personally think he was player of the year last year. He got player of the year. He was your player of the year. But I don't think I ever saw the level of consistency that would warrant a player being Billy Big, whatever, on the way out of the club, which is why I think it's not that, because I think he's actually a decent guy about this.
I don't think that's it at all. I think it come across that way. I will say this. He's 30 years old and he's managed to get a 3-year deal at Oxford. You cannot blame him at all.
That is it. And I wish he'd just said, they offered me 3 years. Because that's the truth, Will. You can dress it up with, they've got ambition and they've got a plan and things like that. No, Will, they offered you 3 years. Everybody can see it. You weren't getting 3 years at Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's it.
And here's the thing, they got a good championship experienced player for this season, and if they go down, they've got to dangle
quality.
One.
Absolutely quality. And I would have had Will Volks as a squad player here, but I wouldn't have given him 3 years. So it makes that the bottom line is all the best
did he
to him.
Did he want to be a squad player? Maybe Danny said, I'm not going to have you as a squad. I want kind of thing.
That's why I'm like, if he was saying that sort of stuff, it comes across as sour grapes. Don't want to be a squad player, want a longer deal. All the sort of pitfalls that old Sheffield Wednesday would have fallen into through sentimentality, when actually he is nowhere near good enough for a 3-year deal at Wednesday if we're moving forward. He is good enough for a year's deal, maybe with an option. But a 3-year deal, chance.
You will be part of that legendary group of players that did the miracle at Hillsborough, did the playoff final, and did the miracle of saving up. And we said, staying up. And we say, thank you for that. Thank you for your service. Good luck at Oxford and just enjoy your football.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I had to put it like that, because if there is sour grapes there, that's my feelings on it. But other than that, I'm going to look at Will Vox very fondly because I've got very fond memories of him. And I think he would have been able to do a job for us, but I actually think this is a no-brainer for him and for Oxford, 3 years there.
Definitely.
However, moving to one that will be quite sad for Wednesday, it looks like Cameron Dawson, if the Bristol Live report is to be believed, is heading to Bristol Rovers. So he's apparently in talks with Bristol Rovers to become their new number one. How would you feel if this was the way Dawson went out? Obviously, he's been with us since the academy days. He's gone through there. He wasn't. He clearly isn't Danny's number one. So,
you know what? I say go and enjoy your football. Go have fun. Go actually be a number one because that's what you need in your career now. You can't be on your bench at 28 or 29 or whatever age he is and be thinking, I might be able to get into the team. You need to go out and play. You've got 2 promotions on your CV back to back. One with Exeter from League 2, one with Wednesday, your boyhood club. And you played a part in that as well. And Danny did try and use you to see if he could get you into his plans when he first came in because he didn't use Vakred. He used Dawson a lot until January.
That's very true.
He tried to give him a chance to be in his system and it just didn't work. But this makes a lot more sense because Matt Taylor was the manager at Exeter that signed him.
It makes, of course. So that's going to happen then. He's going to go to Bristol Rovers and I don't blame him. You know what? I've got a lot of time for Cameron Dawson. But it's his turn to go and be a keeper. And you know what? Go and become a playing out from the back master and come back. When you've got the experience in your early 30s, if you become one of them keepers that actually goes on to do something and comes back. Because that's what I'd do as a Wednesday fan if I wasn't fit in the system at the time.
And also, remember, he's not short of mates there. Jack Hunt playing there.
Yeah. I think it's a great move for him to be a number one. Cameron Dawson is good enough to be a number one. He just doesn't fit the Sheffield Wednesday system, right? Yep. So it makes perfect sense that we're looking to, ship him out.
It's weird though. Shall I tell you why? This will be the first time in a long time that we haven't had an academy goalkeeper in our squad.
We technically do with Charles.
Yeah, not all the way from because he came
I know
from
what you
City.
mean. Just on a technicality, he is our academy.
He's our academy
because he's come through our academy, but he's not been in our academy since he was small, like the others. Yes,
it'll feel weird because we have had Cam Dawson and Joe Wildsmith in those positions for so long.
They've done bloody well. If you think about the amount of academy products that don't even reach I know it's probably easier for a keeper in some regard because you're not going to play a lot if you're a second choice keeper or a third choice keeper, but them two were around for a long time.
Yeah.
So, and we thought that they'd eventually be the number ones. Hopefully Charles does turn into a Sheffield Wednesday number one because we don't want to see that. But this is about Dawson. Go to Bristol Rovers, get a decent wage, become a number one and work your way into football as a number one goalkeeper. You still got his career as a goalkeeper ahead of him. What is he, 28 now? Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
You've got another 10 years as a goalkeeper. Go and have the best 10 years of your career now. You've had a promotion with Wednesday where you played from League One. You've got those memories, He's had that Wednesday. I'm glad he's had that Wednesday season. He fought with Stockdale for his position. He got that position. He became Sheffield Wednesday's number one that got us back to the Championship. Didn't work out in the Championship because he doesn't fit the new man system. That's completely fine. Go and have the highlights of your career now. You've got something. Wednesday.
It wouldn't surprise me if Stockdale turned around and said to him and went, "You need to leave. You need to go do your own stuff now. You've done your service at your boyhood club," kind of thing. Because you know what goalkeepers like. Goalkeeping union, they talk together.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, off you go, mate. All the best.
Enjoy it.
It's like I'm sending him off on the boat there. But it looks like we've agreed the deal with Jan Valery now. So that's going to be another signing coming in. I saw Andy actually say in our comment section, he feels it's a little bit harsh on Palmer that we're signing somebody in his position. But for me, it's future-proofing.
I also think Palmer might be midfield.
I know we've said this a lot, but I also think, because I actually think the right back position is, did he see his no, he said it was unfortunate on Paul. Sorry, I don't want to misquote him.
Yeah.
I think he said it was, which I could see, but again, that's two for the same position, isn't it?
That two for the same position is what we've been saying.
Yeah,
we
he said
need
it's
two
Paul.
for each position, so it makes sense. I don't think this is a slight at Paul. I think this
what he actually says here.
Thing.
It's interesting. I'll read Andy's comment. So he says, feels a bit harsh on Paul if we're bringing in a guy to play in place of him, especially if it's for a relatively hefty fee. So is he going to be a right-sided centre-back? And is this a sign that Iorfa's not staying? For one, it was tipped that it was going to be about 4.5 million. It was never going to be that. I think I said in the last episode, there's no way we're going to pay that for a player like this.
No.
It's a lot further south than you're expecting there. But it could be a sign that Iorfa's maybe not saying, but he's got that versatility. It's another option for right back. It could be the case if we've got two in every position if we're looking to play Palmer in midfield. If not, we've got three that can play right back. Iorfa can also play right back. But if we do play him at centre back, we might need to play him at centre back. We might end up in that situation.
He's 25 as well.
Yeah, it's the future.
Look at the ages that we're suddenly looking at.
Yeah,
with players, they're all in that either mid-20s.
Yeah, they're about to come into their prime, and that's the point. We are literally trying to sign and become their prime club where they're at in their prime.
It does feel harsh on Paul, but I think Paul will relish the what's the word?
Competition.
That's the word. My brain went. The competition, I think it'll drive him on even more because you noticed Paul is very competitive and nobody really sees
also,
this.
though, he dipped off at the start of last... We had a lot of personal things going on and things as well. But if he does dip, we need somebody to come in and they need to push each other. That needs to be the case. And Valery is a player that I would have, if I'd have seen, when he was at Southampton, if we'd have signed him, we'd have been absolutely ecstatic. Yes, he's moved on since then and things like that, but he's still only 25. So this is going to be a decent move.
Yeah. And if it's all agreed, I wouldn't surprise me if we hear about it next week.
Probably as this podcast goes up, knowing our luck. But yeah, this is, that's where I want to leave it this week, Jake, because we've had a lot to talk about. And, the Euros are about to kick off soon, so we're going to go and I want to get this edited before that happens because we are in that month now. But yes, as I said, there's a special episode, an extra episode coming on Tuesday as well. So 2 episodes of Talking Wednesday this week. Have you got anything to add before we wrap up today, Jake?
Enjoy the football and just try and look at yourselves because it's going to be a busy one. Don't believe everything you see in the Twitter space and stuff of speculation and stuff. The amount of time they get sent something,
as Jack would say,
the amount of time they get something to go, have you seen this? It's like, yeah, we're not paying 4.3 million for Paul Mullin. Give it a break. Just call your beans. 4.5 was it? Oh, yeah. Just remember, have a look at people's Twitter when they put it out. Make sure they're reputable, and also players are coming. Just be patient. I know we want it all done now, but we're building something. It's going to take time.
Yeah. And I don't also think Paul Mullin's worth 4.5 million, but there we go. So take care, guys, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.